I'm Dr. Dan Stack of PureHealth Functional Family Medicine, and we're going to discuss testing homes for biotoxin-induced illness. I recommend a particular type of test for any building called a HertzMe test. This is a test which actually doesn't measure the toxins directly, but what it does is it measures the dead and live organisms that are found in homes that are making these toxins. There are two companies that make them, one called Biotoxins and another one called Biotoxins, who do a good job of running a HertzMe test. I would encourage everybody to be very careful using other manufacturers, because some of the other collection mechanisms used by other manufacturers lead to very misleading tests. But a HertzMe test done through Biotoxins or Biotoxins are actually assays that will give us a very good approximation of whether or not there are organisms generating toxins in the home. As a matter of fact, the reason I discourage using any other test besides the HertzMe test is because there are other tests you can do on homes that have been clinically invalidated, meaning that they don't predict whether you will get sick or get healthy, and they don't predict whether you'll get sick again after treatment if you re-enter that building. The most common of these tests that are not reliable are called the air culture and sampling techniques. These things only test for live mold spores. And it's important for people to know that the spore actually is not what's causing your illness. It's the toxin produced by a growing organism in these water damaged buildings that's causing the illness. So if you only test for the live spores, you're actually not measuring all of the production going on in the house. Those tests are actually much more expensive as well, by the way. And the problem is they frequently come back with negative results telling you we didn't find any difference on the air sampling culture than what we would have found outside when the building is still generating enormous amounts of toxins. There are a lot of companies out there that say that they do mold inspections on house and mold remediations on house. Many of them offer very, very expensive testing of this air sampling and culture technique, or they do cultures by wiping surfaces. The problem with these things is that the culture method has never been validated to predict clinical symptomatology. And at the end of the day, you don't really so much care whether a building is growing aspergillus or stachybotrys or how much of it it's growing. You care about whether or not that building is going to injure your health. So these other culture mechanisms have actually never been correlated to show that they predict clinical response to treatment or relapse of symptoms after treatment. The HertzMe testing has been shown that it does do that. And it's so accurate, it has a very nifty cut point where you can just about tell people if your score is 10 or less, the building isn't going to injure you, and you can say that with over 98% certainty. If it's greater than 10, you can tell them with 98% certainty it is going to hurt you in some way. The other tests haven't been validated that way, but there's a lot of companies that still learn to do that old method of testing. And even though it's very, very expensive, they continue to do it, I think largely because they make money on this other testing, and there's not as much money to be made from doing a HertzMe testing. So to do a HertzMe test, one just contacts either Biotoxins or Biotoxins and tell them that you want to have their Swiffer kit test. They'll send you a kit. It comes with a cloth that you just wipe over horizontal surfaces. A lot of times we have people use the casing over around their windows or around their doors, up on bookshelves, things where dust accumulates. And then after they've wiped that cloth, it's put in a bag and shipped back to the company. The company then analyzes the dust to see how many spore-forming equivalents it can find per gram of dust, and they can tell you how rapidly that house is generating biotoxins and whether it's generating at a rate that will injure a human. The visual contrast test, you can get results right online. As soon as the test is done, it will come back and tell you whether or not you've had a passing or failing score. There's a little bit of art in interpreting a visual contrast test when it's been a failure. Therefore, I encourage anybody who's failed a visual contrast test to get a hold of a doctor who actually understands visual contrast testing and how to interpret it, knows the conditions under which it had to be done to get a valid test, and then if it really has been a valid test, knows how to do something about those who are accumulating biotoxins. The only thing that a house needs to be able to make toxins is water, wood, and 72 hours of heat. And in that alone, the different types of organisms that produce these toxins will start making the toxins they make. So in any building that has a chronic water damage, even if you can't see it, whether it's in your attic or the most common places in your crawl space, these things can be pumping toxins into your home without you ever being able to see them with your eye. If you'd like to learn more about biotoxin illness and the inflammation it causes, please feel free to contact us at PureHealth Functional Family Medicine at 317-559-2515, or you can go to our website at www.purehealthmed.com.